For the third consecutive year, the #1 city in the entire United States for net inbound migration, as measured by U-Haul one-way moving truck transactions compiled from 2.5 million moves, is not Phoenix. It is not Austin. It is not Charlotte. It is a city in north-central Florida with a population of under 80,000 people that most national real estate analysts have never covered in depth. It is Ocala. Ocala in Marion County, Florida, was the #1 U-Haul growth city in 2022, held the top spot again in 2024, and retained it for 2025. According to Florida Realtors reporting on the U-Haul Growth Index, Florida has 8 of the top 10 growth cities in the entire country and 12 of the top 25. Not Miami, not Tampa, not Orlando proper. The cities at the top of that list are Ocala, Northport, Kissimmee, Clermont, and Fort Lauderdale. Every one of them is either inland, mid-size, or substantially cheaper than the coastal metro it sits near. This is not a coincidence. It is a documented migration pattern. And the data shows exactly where it comes from, where it is going next, and what it means for home prices in the markets that are still early in the cycle. My name is David Cole. I am the editor-in-chief of Housing Intel. Before we get into this, subscribe to Housing Intel if you have not already. The data we are about to cover is moving fast, and the window to act on it is short. Subscribers get every report the moment it drops. Hit subscribe. Now let us look at what is actually happening. The first data layer is the origin question. Where are the people moving to Ocala and the North Central Florida corridor coming from? Redfin's search origin data is unambiguous on this. The #1 source metro for buyers searching Ocala on Redfin is Miami. Second is Orlando. Third is New York. That is not a random distribution. That is a directed migration stream flowing from the state's most expensive markets toward its most affordable ones. The Move Buddha migration data for 2025 confirms the same pattern at a state level. The most common single move route within Florida in 2025 was Miami to Orlando. Orlando home prices are approximately 42% lower than Miami's. And then from Orlando, the next leg of that compression chain points toward Ocala, Kissimmee, and Clermont, all of which had inbound to outbound move ratios well above 2-to-1. Kissimmee specifically ran a 3.15-to-1 inbound ratio, meaning for every one person leaving, more than 3 were arriving. The price data that drives this is straightforward. The Miami Metro median sits above $680,000. The Tampa median runs around $410,000. The Orlando median is approximately $390,000. And Ocala's Marion County median in early 2026 is approximately $275,000. That is a $400,000 price gap between Miami and Ocala. For a buyer who worked in Miami for 20 years, built equity in a home that appreciated during the pandemic, and is now selling to extract that equity, $400,000 is not an abstract number. It is the difference between a paid-off home on 5 acres in Marion County and another stretched mortgage payment in a dense South Florida suburb. The math is not subtle, and 2.5 million U-Haul transactions a year says people are acting on it. Before we continue, leave a comment below. Have you made this move, or are you watching someone close to you go through it right now? Tell us the origin market and the destination. This is the data that Housing Intel needs to build the next level of this analysis. And if you know someone trying to decide whether to make this move, share this video with them now. This is the report they need before they talk to a real estate agent. The second data layer is the price trajectory question. What happens to Ocala's home prices as this migration stream continues? The answer requires understanding what happened in the markets that experienced this same compression pattern one cycle earlier. Think about what happened to St. Johns County. In 2010, it had a median home price under $200,000 and a population of 191,000. By 2026, it has a median above $500,000, a house population of 359,000, and county planners projecting it will reach 665,000 people by 2050. That is not a freak outcome. That is what sustained in-migration from expensive markets does to an affordable market over a 15 to 20-year window. Marion County is not at the beginning of that cycle. It is at roughly the early middle, which is the most important window for both buyers and current owners to understand. The median has moved from under $200,000 in 2015 to approximately $275,000 today, a gain of roughly 37% in a decade. The inbound migration signal is stronger now than it was 5 years ago because the price gap between origin markets and destination has widened, not narrowed. Miami got more expensive faster than Ocala did. The third data layer is the geographic compression effect. Migration from expensive markets to affordable ones does not stop at the first affordable city. It cascades. When enough in-migration pressure arrives in Ocala and Marion County, the buyers who cannot afford Marion County start looking at the next ring out. That ring includes Columbia County to the north, Citrus County to the west, Alachua County to the east, and Levy County to the northwest. This is precisely the pattern that devastated affordability in the Tampa Bay corridor over the past decade. Pasco County absorbed Hillsborough County overflow. Hernando County is now absorbing Pasco County overflow. Storage Cafe migration data from late 2025 found that Hernando County had the highest home ownership rate among new arrivals of any county in Florida, with 73% of net movers securing a home within their first year of residence. This is not renter overflow. These are buyers with equity from their origin market arriving and immediately competing for ownership in a market that has not yet adjusted its pricing to reflect that demand. The fourth data layer is the one that connects the migration pattern directly to Columbia County and the Big Bend corridor. Columbia County, home to Lake City, sits at the intersection of Interstate 10 and Interstate 75, which is the most important highway junction in North Florida. The median sale price cited in the Northeast Florida Association of Realtors tracking data for Baker County, which sits adjacent to Columbia, was $244,000 in late 2025. Columbia County pricing runs similarly. That is a market trading at approximately 64% of the national median home price of around $360,000. The U-Haul data does not yet show Columbia County as a headline destination because the migration cascade has not fully arrived there. But the structural logic is the same as what drove Ocala from obscurity to the #1 growth city in the country. The price differential from origin markets is large enough to sustain years of inbound migration. The highway access makes commute logistics viable for the regional job market. And the insurance cost structure for an inland county at this latitude runs significantly below the coastal Florida average, eliminating one of the primary deterrents to relocation that the coastal markets carry. The fifth and final data point is what the pattern means for the buyer who is already in one of these markets and watching all of this happen. If you own a home in Marion County today, the structural migration argument says your equity position is being supported by a demand stream that has not exhausted itself. The gap between Miami and Ocala, between Tampa and Citrus County, between Orlando and Columbia County, is large enough, and the origin market drivers are strong enough that this compression migration has years of momentum behind it. That is not a guarantee. Markets can soften, mortgage rates can suppress transaction volume, and a major hurricane in an inland county would change the insurance calculus overnight. But the foundational driver here, the price gap between origin and destination, has not closed. It has grown. Miami got more expensive relative to Ocala, not less. And the U-Haul data says the migration is responding to that gap exactly as economic theory predicts it should. The complete picture is this. The escape from South Florida is not a story about a few retirees moving to Columbia County. It is a documented, data-confirmed, multi-year migration cascade that is systematically repricing every affordable Florida market it touches. Ocala is already 3 years deep into that process and is still the #1 growth city in the country by U-Haul data. The counties north and west of Marion, the counties that are 2 to 3 years behind in the cycle, are the markets where the price trajectory is still early. The data on those markets is available, the pattern is clear, and the window to act on it for buyers, for sellers managing their timing, and for owners thinking about their long-term equity position is not infinite. Housing Intel publishes 3 reports every week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every one of them is built on verified data, not speculation, not opinion, not real estate industry talking points. Subscribe if you want the full picture, and share this video if someone you care about needs to hear it. We will be back with more.